Warning, this podcast has some swears in it.
I'd rate it PG-13 at most, but let's just be on the safe side and say viewer discretion is advised. Are you ready?
Yes, I have the Webbed site open, and we've got the documents, the heaters turned off, we've got the beverage, we've got the redacted. We're all good.
Can it be redacted if you always talk about it?
Sure.
Time to raise your blades, heroes.
And check some vibes.
It's the Heroes Blade Vibe Check. Quinn, inquiring minds want to know how you got onto your very first episode of Shuffle Up and Play.
TBH, there's not really a story there. Prof hit me up on Twitter and asked if I wanted to be on the show, and I said yes because, abso-fucking-lutely, dude. Tolarian Community College, are you kidding me?
Yup. I mean, if the prof's knocking at your door, you're usually like, oh my god, the professor from Tulare Community College, how can I help you? Do you want to come on my show? Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. So yeah. My friend Brian was wondering, because he's like, he finds it very funny of like, you don't know about each other very well. I'm like, well, you see, when you do a podcast, sometimes you do keep things in the podcast, you know? What stays in the podcast, I don't know where I'm going with that line.
Yeah, there's just like stuff that you talk about on the podcast and stuff that comes up during games, and then, I don't know, some things like don't come up when you're talking in those situations.
Yup. But hey, now you know. And we'll continue on. That was part of the upkeep. We'll continue with the upkeep for a little bit here because we have our next guest lined up, and the next guest is Mike fucking Carosa from Am I the Bullcast fame. It's going to be a good time. He won't have to apologize to the editor for swearing because we can just swear however much we want. So it's going to be a great time. So that will be in the next couple weeks. Let's get to our vibe checks. What's good for you?
Goodness. So it's actually kind of a wonder that I haven't brought this up before now, but Soraline Cosmos Collar passes the fucking vibe check. I was literally thinking about it this weekend, like, is there a Heroes Blade in this deck? Because I feel like there should be. I'm consistently getting in for 3 damage, and that could be 6. And she's got Vigilance, which is just like a huge fuck you to people who are trying to attack into that. Like, she's a 6/5 flyer then. It's fucking rude. So yeah, I'm thinking about a Heroes Blade for that. I have no idea what to swap for it. It's also a Lich deck, so the slots are like real tight.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, we gotta find something because I'm just leaving damage on the table if we're not putting that in there, basically.
As it turns out, evasive flyers can win you the game. My vibe check this week is an Orzhov legend as well. It's Colonel Autumn from the Fallout decks. 3 mana, 2/3 with lifelink and exploit. Other legendary creatures you control have exploit, and whenever a creature you control exploits a creature, put a +1 counter to each other creature you control. Hey, who likes a 5/5 with lifelink that also could be a 6/6? And
hey, this guy rips, actually.
Yeah, so while in general he passes, if you're making a deck with him as the commander, you're probably playing a bunch of just legendary creatures, period. So the deck will heavily synergize with it. I'll elaborate later, but I really wanted to make a deck with him, and I've been kind of sitting around on him for a while, and I kind of made a compromise, and that was part of the bruise off the shelf section later. So we'll go over that.
All right, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. It might be fucking Orzhov season.
Might be. It's actually Mardu season.
Well, I am tapping my fucking watch waiting for them to show me a Mardu dragon.
Okay, I am so upset that when Brandon offered the newbies of MTG Lexicon a deck apiece from Tarkir Dragonstorm, you were first up in line claiming the fucking Mardu deck. Fuck you.
That is, in this particular setting of like color trios, the color combination that I'm most passionate about.
Fine. You win this time, I guess.
You like Teamer.
Yeah, I'm sure I will like the Teamer Dragon. I don't know what it does at all, but I'm sure I'll like it.
That said, if the dragons come out and it turns out we would rather like swap like themes, I'm sure we can work that out.
I will have to see, because I think aren't previews at least starting soon? I don't know.
Probably. It's getting dry in the streets. We haven't seen.
Well, hold on. The story is ending. Isn't the story ending this week? I think. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I'm waiting for it all to come out. I have been reading bits and pieces of it. Sarkad, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Get his ass.
Bro, my body is melting because I can't become a dragon. Look, a lot of people can't become animals, man. Just relax, okay?
No, that one's actually relatable.
I wouldn't know. But anyway, let's get into comments.
Hell yeah.
So, obviously, we've been getting people over at MTG Lexicon, the Dive Bar of EDH, to hit us up over in the dedicated Heroes Blade Vibe Check channel. And that's been great. That's been really fun so far. But we still got people commenting, and a little bit of a short supply this week, which is great because it allows us to get to some other stuff soon. So let's start off with episode 32. G3 had a couple comments, which I thought was really funny. I love when people comment throughout an episode, depending on like what part they get to. So this was the episode where we did the arcane opening.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
So he's like, y'all have some funny opening bits before. This episode might be my favorite. I also thought that one was pretty great.
Oh, thank you, because Cole really put his chef hat on for that one.
I was like, Quinn, hold on, you're coming out of the media dimension. You're like, yeah. I'm like, let me cook. I got something
I need
here.
to cook.
And then later, about approximately 28 minutes and 52 seconds into the episode, he also says, yo, Cole, you're skipping the very crucial morning routine step of drinking a big glass of water after waking up. And to which I have to reply, nah, you're right, though. You're definitely right. I'm compensating.
Don't do that, and I probably should.
Yeah. I have a giant glass of water with me right now for that very same reason. Fast forward to episode 32, G3's back again, talking about when he unloaded the Lexicon pack onto an unsuspecting, uncharismatic bard.
Yeah, he writes, I'm now happy that I didn't include a handwritten note in that goodie bag I tossed at Bard. I wrote this in our Discord, but the other goodie bags were given to my opponents at MagicCon. But on a Sunday night, I had one left. So as I passed it off as a fucking RuneScape random event after I finished some of the best tacos I'd ever had, it was 2 fully loaded pork tacos at Tacos El Gordo. Thanks for the details there. That's important.
Awesome. That's great. Small world, when you finally get people like I'm not a traveled person. I've been stuck in BC for most of my life, and honestly the only places I've gone to is Seattle or Quebec, which is very two different places for a lot of reasons to go there. But it is funny when people are like, yeah, I met XYZ person at some MagicCon and now we're here, and it's just kind of funny how kind of small the world is when like Benwa and I have like doxed each other, being like, wait a minute, you're also a Vancouverite? Tell me more. And here we are. Hilariously, I actually think he lives near me now.
Oh, nice.
Gotta go hit him up sometime. Then we go to Combat MTG saying, Had the chance to play against that Armex Ludovic deck, and it was very cool to watch it go off. It would be boring if it was an Edward Kenway deck.
Thank you. My hipster sensibilities are validated.
Yeah, I mean, look, you gotta have that Ludovic backup to be like, hey, come on, you want to draw cards, right? While making sure, as long as you're pitching stuff for Armix, that you're reloading your hand in some way. It makes sense.
Yeah, that is how you do it.
The Joho saying, we love a good shout out. Here for you two legends as always. Megazord, aka the Meg Titan Fox.
Sure does, babes. And then Indominus Lux closing it out here at 35-40, saying, trumpeting Carnosaur, my beloved. Hell yeah, babes.
It's such a cool card, and I do need to find a place to put mine. I really do. It kind of comes and goes where it needs to go, and then it's like, no, I gotta cut it for something else.
I need to get one at all.
Yeah, no. There's a handful of, I don't know, it's just a handful of red cards lately that just kind of seem to evade me. I bought another couple Connect the Dots since Benwa's been raving about it.
Yeah, he has been connecting the dots posting as of late.
And I remembered or realized recently as I was sorting through my cards that I did actually have a copy ready to go, but I got like the extended border one.
Ooh,
so
Mr. Bling.
So yeah, no, I definitely do want to try a lot of these cards out, and some of the red ones, like I wanted to get the Dracusaur. Like I wanted to get the other alternate artwork of the Dracusaur from Ixalan, but
Bonor Dracosaur.
Yeah, but I only got a boring foil standard one, but I have one, like, congratulations.
I think we'll take that.
Yeah. All right. Quinn, I gotta need you to do something really quick for me.
Yeah?
I need you to go into the Smoking Mints dimension with Benwa and get back to us here.
The what?
Hey, it's that new bit smell. Let's go over to the Smoking Mints dimension with Empress Quinn and Benwa, where they talk about cards that are kind of mid that you might have missed. Let's check it out.
That was my clap. I did it.
All right.
Yeah, shit. I had an idea and it's fully gone now. Oops. Welcome to Smoking Mids, the show where we're smoking mids.
We are indeed smoking mids. Tell me about the mids that you're smoking.
I am really on my Esper Zer very build around 3 mana enchantment bullshit, as you are aware. And the particular card that I am consistently shocked is not a mid is Key to the Vault from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It's a blue legendary artifact equipment, 1 in a blue. Whenever quick creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library.
Oh,
you may exile a non-land card from among them, you put the rest on the bottom, and you can cast that card for free.
Yeah, free spells, good. More at 11.
Free spells good. Free spells good. This is a TCG player. Obviously, the TCG player low is like a mystery number that I don't know where they get, and I don't understand where they get.
Yeah.
But it says 27 cents.
Holy shit. Are people just allergic to combat? That's probably what's going on.
I think they're looking at an equipment that doesn't have the plus sign in it anywhere, and they're like, well, that doesn't do anything for me. Doesn't make my guy beefier.
Equipment doesn't have to have a plus sign to be swag, though. What's her name? Mask of Memory? I think the 1 mana or rather 2 mana casting cost, 1 mana equip to whenever that creature deals combat damage, you can draw 2 cards, and if you do, discard a card. That'll show you so many fucking cards. And you probably need that if you're playing Magic the Gathering, because the most fun a gamer can have without, is drawing cards.
the extent to which I like fuck with Key to the Vault, I equip it onto Zur, who is a 1/4.
You will look at the top card of your library and see if you can cast it.
I'm just ripping shit off the top, being like, that'll do. I'll cast that.
Literally doesn't matter as long as it's free, though.
Exactly.
Oh,
I mean,
you can play this with like Varragoth, Bloodsky Sire, and just be a real bitch and like attack with both of them, obviously, and then you tutor things to the top.
Listen, you might be approaching this from a like, how can we do good things with it? And I was just like, I just like the super scry. Like the power of being like, oh, I'll cast that. I'd like to just have that. Please, I'd like that to go. Shit's incredible. But like, how about you? You smoking good right now?
Always. I actually incredibly timed cough. But yeah, I actually have this massive jar of like vaporizer leftovers right next to me, reminding me that Jesse, we need to cook Takif or whatever and make some edibles. But the specific mid in terms of card gaming that we're smoking right now, I've been really into the new god from Ether Drift, Ketramos. So been jamming that on MTGO because I opened one in a draft, a foil one actually. We cast that in a draft and the person who we were up against was like, nice 80 ticks, which is
nice 80 ticks. Oh, damn.
Yeah, dude. It's the unit of currency that you buy things with on MTGO, for those who don't know, and the conversion rate is pretty close to 1-to-1 for like USD to ticks. So yeah, it's like a swag $80 bill, but also I wanted to see what that card does, and as it turns out, you can play a pretty satisfying blink deck, or you can be a miserable bitch and exile everything and also all of the graveyards, and that is also an option.
Boo. I understand you're not like that.
Yeah, I think I posted the list in a place where you can see it. But yeah, we're playing guys that enter the battlefield and draw me a card mostly, and ways to blink those so that I'm drawing 2 cards per blink spell, which feels pretty good. But the mids that we're particularly digging in there is Urborg Scavengers.
Tell me about these Urborg Scavengers.
Yeah, I think they came with the like Commander Workshop set. There's a bunch of cool and interesting designs, as well as just like generically powerful and popular Commander cards in that bundle for pretty cheap. So I got that. Been playing cards with that as I like find them to be relevant for what I'm up to. And these guys in particular, I hadn't been looking at until now because they draw me a card whenever they enter the battlefield or attack, essentially, because they're exiling a card from my, or from a graveyard. And they get a +1/+1 counter whenever they do that. And it gets the keywords that are associated with the thing that they exiled if they exile a creature. All of that stacks into a pretty interesting creature that ends up being graveyard hate and also card draw. If I've got something particularly like keywordy in my graveyard that I don't care about, I can just like exile it, and then I've got that ability on my Urborg Scavengers. Like, it's feeling pretty good to play that, and I'm thinking about working that in more places because it is just like graveyards need hating on. Sometimes you gotta just get in there real surgical like and be like, okay, graveyard mage, you gotta be a little more careful because you can't just like entomb one thing and leave it. I'm gonna eat it.
I respect that level of graveyard hate a lot. Like, I agree that like, you know, you let the graveyard player do the graveyard player things, and you're just gonna get run over right away. But like, I remember trying to play like a real bracket to Sidisi, and I was just playing against a pod, and for whatever reason, the Ishin player just had a bunch of like, without even planning to, just exiled my entire graveyard like 6 times.
Fuck.
It got to a point where I was like, I just won't ever get anything out of the graveyard, and that's fine. but also it's happening without you even like making it happen. You're just like, oops, I'm eating graveyards again.
Oh, are they on the fucking like General Kudrow who just like Zorch in graveyards just like as an afterthought?
It was stuff like that. Some of them were, I think, were tied to attack triggers, like exile cards. So they were like exiling like 4 cards every combat. And it's like I said, it's you can't let the graveyard player get away with graveyard player things, but also just like I have a newfound respect for the restraint that comes with like really surgical extraction of like, no, you cannot reanimate this foreign Klex, but I will let you have a 6/6 with trample.
Yeah, it's just like the Elder Gargaroth, sure, that's fine, but I'm absolutely exiling the angel who makes my combats invalid.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have the regular art for Urborg Scavengers, or do you have the alt art? Because I'm looking at the alt art for Urborg Scavengers, and I'm like, this is a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh card. These are just 2 little purple dudes.
I have the regular art where they're holding up, I don't know if that's Norn's headdress in particular, but a, like, what is her, like, faction called? Argent Fire or whatever. One of, like, their headdresses.
Yeah, looking at the alt art, I'm just like, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Also, I double-checked just now. It's not from a commander-specific product. Urborg Scavengers is from March of the Machine's Aftermath.
That is quite the set. The delivery
$50
method.
card set.
Yeah. Delivery method made opening these packs not a very good experience for most people, and so a lot of people just like disparage the set as a whole. But as it turns out, there are a lot of very cool and interesting designs in there, and I'm finally spending some time to explore some more of those. I actually have like another one from here that I can talk about. The Kenrith's Royal Funeral.
Kenrith's Royal Funeral. That's an enchantment, 4 or 2 black-white.
Yeah, exactly. When it enters the battlefield, you exile up to 2 target legendary cards from your graveyard. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the greatest mana value among cards exiled this way. And legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card exiled with the Kenrith's Royal Funeral.
Hell yeah. It's in Ketramos colors, so I'm sure that part rips. But like,
I did not even fucking think about that.
it's just 2 cards. It's just 2 cards.
It's just 2 cards.
Like, ever since they introduced the finality counter, like, people are so precious about, like, I not only need this creature, Quinn, I need this creature like 6 times.
You extremely do not is the thing.
You extremely do not. And it's like, you exile 2 creatures that, like, there might even be so many better creature options for you. Now everything's cheaper, and you just drew a bunch of cards. You have a 99 card deck. You do not need those 2. Let go of the past.
Yeah, exactly. I had an experience where I think I was playing a Shrines and the Dragon Kami deck on MTGO and exiled a Kyrie the Swirling Sky and one other, it might have been a Shrine, one of the creature ones, obviously, that I just like didn't care about. And then I drew 2 cards and not 2 cards, I drew 6 cards because Kyrie's fucking huge. And then every legendary spell that I cast for the rest of the game while I still had this was 2 less, which was fucking huge because all of my spells are legendary. I'm playing Shrines and Dragon Kami.
Damn. Incredible work. I think there's actually a lot of mid-level bangers in March of the Machine Aftermath. I was looking at a couple while you were describing that.
Right.
Cosmic Rebirth. 1 white, 1 white green. It's an instant, and it's just Sun Titan at instant speed.
I don't think I've ever seen this. Whoa. And also this art is wild.
Yeah, Martinale.
Oh man. She's good at what she does.
Incredible work. Thank you, Marta. But like, I still okay. I believe in 6-mana creatures. I believe in 6-mana creature supremacy. Like, this is the show Smoking Mids where we smoke mids. And like I
Yeah.
am gamers life does not end at 4 mana. Like, it goes a little bit higher than that. I'm still rolling Sun Titan in legitimate decks. Like, I am tapping 6 lands, I am playing a Sun Titan, I am getting a thing out of my graveyard.
Oh,
This
dude, I could
is-
totally play Sun Titan. You're so right. I'm writing
This
that
is
down,
Sun
Karen.
Titan for people who are like allergic to 6 mana. Choose target permanent card in your graveyard. If it has mana value 3 or less, you just put it back. You just slam it on the battlefield. And if it isn't 3 mana or less, you put it in your hand. At instant
I'm
speed.
always saying that Green Reanimator is just put it back in your hand and cast it again, but you can play this in a Celestia Reanimator deck if those are out there, and that would feel extremely good. This is pretty sweet.
There's some Abzan crime that you can do with this. Like, there are a lot of like black creatures that the 3 mana and under, which just having access to at instant speed on someone else's turn would be so deeply irritating.
Oh, what's the mana value on Plague Crafter?
They're all 3s.
Oh,
They're
no.
all 3s. The reason that Henzi, Toolbox Torrid, says 4 mana and higher is because all of the Edict creatures are at 3.
Yeah, if you want an Edict in that deck, you have to step all the way up to Shieldred.
Which is
Oh,
admittedly
man.
not super hard for that deck, but I
Yeah.
digress. I think next time we should spend a little bit more time with March of the Machine Aftermath. He says in a completely meta way. That was what we were supposed to do this time. I forgot instantly. We hit the clap and I was like, shit. We were going to talk about a thing.
We're totally okay. That's what we do here. We're vibing and talking about cards in this particularly chill manner.
Do you have any closing notes?
Gamers, can you just like do me a favor and read through a set? Like, just look at all of the cards in one of them, like one time. It doesn't have to be like I don't know, like a commander set or anything like that. Just like pick one and just like look at all the cards, especially if you haven't done that kind of thing already. New Capenna Commander, a great place to start.
Also, a great
And
place
then,
to start.
yeah. Tell me about that.
March of the Machine Aftermath. It's only got 50 cards.
It does only have 50 cards, yeah. Read
Alright,
through
we're
a set
gonna
for me, gamers. That's what I want.
Read through a set, gamers. We'll see you next time.
Laters.
And that was the newly developed Smoking Mids section. We've employed Benwa to join Quinn in the Smoking Mids dimension to just tell you about some cool cards that you don't really know about.
That was weird.
Yeah, that's weird. We'll wonder if it'll happen again in the future. I don't know.
All right, tell me about some content.
Cool, because it looks like it looks like I'm the only one that put some stuff here, so we'll go over the list here. This last weekend, a joint stream charity event between a bunch of people through Bluesky got together to do the Hate Has No Home stream for Trans Lifeline. That was originally done as a replacement to the Sheldon Memory Cancer stream that they were wanting to do and couldn't really arrange for the last, God, it was like 6 months or something.
Yeah, circumstances kept compiling.
Stuff happens in life, as we found out. The goal was $10,000. From what I understand, the final result will be 12,800, I think.
Damn.
So for the time being, and I'll put a link in the episode description, that the charity is still ongoing. We're gonna be donate if you can, how you can. It's for a good cause, and congratulations and thanks everyone for contributing. And it sounds like they'll be doing the raffle, I don't know, sometime this week, which will probably be before this episode comes out. So, yeah. Otherwise, for a good cause, great to see it. You'll love to hear it.
Yeah, there were a lot of cool prizes available for that, so I hope everybody got their hands on something neat.
New precons, maybe? Who knows?
Who knows?
Didn't talk about a couple things the last couple episodes, but I'll just go over them as we're going through this. So, first thing, I wrote an article over on the Herald's Horn Substack. Thanks you, Cal, for letting me go nuts with writing an article about content creation for Magic. I kind of went over a bunch of details about the things that I've learned, the kind of the do's and the don'ts, the expectations, and I've been doing this for a few years, so I'm no expert, but I figured I'd just let people know how it is. And Cal said he enjoyed it so much, he nearly just said, yeah, it's good, nearly good enough to ship as it was. I think he had to do some minor tweaks here and there, but other than that, not too big of a deal.
Hell yeah. It's a good read. I think you all should check it out.
Then simultaneously, hey, the Herald's Horn had their episode out about the upcoming Spider-Man Universes Beyond that was announced very suddenly out of nowhere. The increase of pack prices to be expected for Universes Beyond product, which is kind of annoying, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Cal, I guess, did a comparison between pack prices from like a period of years until now, and I think I gotta double check, but it seems like inflation like is kind of catching up, because I guess like the standard pack price of it being like $4.99 was like set in stone for like over a decade or something, or like it being less. So
yeah,
pretty nuts. But I like listening to Herald's Horn just to see what Cal and Dan and Emma, and when Lexi shows up every once in a while, like how they feel about stuff and what their thoughts are about the news. Kind of keeps me informed. That's what I like about them.
Yeah. Always enjoy their insights. I really dig the fucking product watch.
Yeah, product.
Like that is my shit
Oh,
every
it's
time.
so
It gets me.
so funny. And I always love it's like, say hello, Emma. Hello, Emma.
Oh, so good.
Their bits are good. Then the one thing that I didn't talk about, and it's been out for a while at this point already. It felt like it was done yesterday, but I got to go over on Andy's podcast, You Know What's Cool, and I got to sit down with Andy and Zach to talk about Mega Man Zero. And
yeah.
It's a doozy, because it's just more Mega
Some
Man.
fucking shit be happening in these games. There's elves in these ones, and I'm just question mark. What is going on here? But Cole takes us through all of that, and it doesn't answer all of my questions, but I don't think some of these questions are answerable. That just the nature of the game.
Yeah, there's I'm sure if you looked up, I'll send you a video if you got the time. It's a bit of a long one, but I love the guy's presentation giving you the whole rundown of everything, and it definitely answers the questions more than what I did. But yeah, go check that out if you love Game Boy Advance games and you do love the Mega Man Zero games. I try to do my best, and I love getting reactions out of Andy and Zach. Just being like, what the fuck? And then meanwhile, Andy's like, I have to insert a dry comment here. Okay, anyway, moving on. Elves, dude? What? I'm like, yeah, there's elves, bro. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're more like little fairies, if anything, but they're called cyber elves. Anyway. There's a new episode of Gaslight Gatecrash Girl Bite with the hosts Light and Medusa, and it's as usual, it's a good time.
Extremely hype. They talk about just like questions about what drives you in Magic the Gathering and the things that you enjoy about it.
Deck building, playing the game with people, so on, so on.
Yeah.
And then, meanwhile, Cody over on Brew Review had a solo episode as Laz was having some tech and internet issues, from what I understand. So he just answered.
Truly fighting for his life against the computer.
Yeah, but Cody had a bunch of asked people to hand in their questions, and we all did, including my question of be like, okay, what is tolerable for you to release for an episode versus where you want it to be, and how long does that take or whatever. And yeah, all of the answers that you could hope for, and it was just nice. It was a nice little episode.
Yeah, that was a good listen. Cody, you're doing great, sweetie.
And I don't know what you've been up to, or if you've been seeing anything, or I don't know.
Listening to a Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 recap podcast called Got It Memorized. They have a bunch of other stuff that they cover, but those two sections
Do they
were the
cover
ones
Kingdom
that I wanted to
Hearts
listen
games?
to. They sure fucking do.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, really? You're gonna call the Kingdom Hearts / Final Fantasy podcast Got It Memorized? Give me a fucking break. Who do you think I am, a fucking chump? Hello? That just reminded me, I came across drunk retelling of Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, and I need to go back and finish watching that, because that game fucking kicked me right in the heart.
I've only played like a couple of hours of that, but there's a lot going on in there, like maybe even more than other Kingdom Hearts games potentially. So fucking definitely watch that video. I'm sure that them explaining that drunk is an experience.
It was, the starting bit of it was so funny because they're like, stop asking us to do it, please, dear God. And everyone's in the comments immediately, no, we will never tell you to stop, keep going. Yeah, so that's funny. All right. Let's go to brews off the shelf, where we talk about new brews, the games we played, and so on. What do you got going on this week?
So the homie Sean of the Woodland Deck House hit me up in my mentions on Bluesky with a suggestion to play Arna Kennerid Sky Captain, the 2 and Esper 5/4 legendary creature human knight from Modern Horizons 3. With flying, lifelink, and ward, discard a card, and then also if a modified creature attacks, you like double all the counters on it, then make a token copy of any equipment and auras attached to it, and attach them to that creature. It's a pretty fucked up Magic the Gathering card when you say it all like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar.
And so Sean's like, hey, so check this out. You would like this because you can do so much combat research and wear so many boots. Because he's playing that in Brawl, I think. And just like showed me a screenshot of Arena with just like a bunch of fucking shoes and auras on.
Mm-hmm,
and I was looking at that like, all right, well, I guess I could give it a try.
It's tempting, let me tell you.
Yeah, so I got my hands on a copy of that card for MTGO because they had the profile art from that set for very cheap. And I have a bunch of Mirren swords on MTGO. So I decided to approach that from that angle. Because there's like a lot of different ways that you can go with that. Arna sees all of the ways that you can modify a creature and will double them. So I could play like Aura Enchantress. I could play +1/+1 counters. There's a mix of the three. But I wanted to go with equipment because it felt like easiest to just like narrow in on one set of mechanical synergies rather than spreading my focus across all three.
Yeah, because who would do that? Why would someone do that?
I'm sure plenty of gamers do that.
Couldn't be me. I'd never dissolve all the features and fuck it all up for myself. Why would I do that?
Well, I'm sure it's more fun that way. So anyway, we piled a bunch of Mirren swords in the deck and just like, also because like they're generically good equipment and I didn't want to think too much about the equipment inclusions that I was going to make. I wanted to just like, these are all good cards, so we'll put them in the deck. And if I find out that they suck on the battlefield, then we can make that cut then. But in the meantime, I can just like get to playing the deck instead of spending more time in the lab. So yeah, we just threw those in there. They're pretty reliably good. Gameplay wise, haven't had a whole lot of success yet, and I don't know what exactly it is that I need to do or what's going on MTGO. If it's just like a bad week, I keep getting run over on like turn 6 by Eldrazi or Simic Ramp, or earlier today I was just like constantly fucking eating removal, and like my spells were getting either countered or copied, and just like could not get my legs under me, so never went anywhere with that.
Bummer. Jeez.
Yeah, I think I gotta just fucking spend additional time in the lab on it. We might have to go harder on ways to just like tell my opponents to either chill the fuck out or like stop fucking with me. So just like counter spells or stuff that interacts on the stack, or stacks pieces like a rule of law or whatever. I think the Either Sworn Canonist could be particularly effective in this deck because all of my artifacts are equipment. We can take advantage of an artifact-specific rule of law that way.
Yeah, no, okay. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
Esper equipment, you know, always tricky to find the juice.
Yeah, I think I do just have to take a like trickier, maybe more of a back foot like stance with it, like just piling up knives and good creatures and always making sure that I have the interaction up so that I can stop people from fucking up my game plan. And then once they've exhausted their resources and I have a good amount of knives on the battlefield and creatures to carry them, or ways to put them all on Arna, I can cast Arna and just fucking one punch people out of the fucking game. That might have to be the angle that we take with it. Probably get a little sweaty on the interaction suite and play the like Fierce Guard, Deadly Relic, Flawless Maneuver type beat.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, it's MTGO, okay?
True. It is a completely different environment out there. I had a thought recently, and I'm going to call out Bryant on this specifically because he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I got to play with Bryant recently and some friends of ours that we usually try to get together online. They're all down in Texas, and Bryant has a tendency to play the most aggravating fucking decks in the world.
Yeah.
and it's not that I feel as if it's like necessarily a meta mismatch, although it might be the case because he always talks about how he gets games over on the Tolarian Community College Discord.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I don't know if he like it's like the different meta, and then he brings the decks that he's overtuned from that meta to the table. But he has a tendency to be on the plus against us when we're trying to like beat his ass, and he's just like, no, I have all the answers and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, man, just fuck right off, okay? Like, I understand that there's a necessary tendency for some people to be like, I need to have an answer for this situation just because, you know, it makes them feel good in their belly or whatever. I don't fucking know, but I don't know. I just find that like, how far do you have to lean in on the interaction package? And yes, this is going to be the part we're going to ask you to hit the bomb because I'm going to say play more removal or whatever. But the it's just I don't know. I've just been finding it really annoying to be like, if someone always has the answer or is playing like the Esper flicker every conceivable target out of removal, you're like, quit step dodging my shit, you know? This is a call-out post on Sephiroth, specifically. What a miserable fucking Magic card, and what a miserable fucking gameplay experience. That shit is agonizing.
Damn, son.
They're like, oh, cool, what if I played Astral Slide and, like, I don't fucking know, like, cycling dot deck, where every time I cycle a card, I get to go through a dungeon. and I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah, so they're just like astral sliding their white plume adventure and discarding I don't know, fucking land cycler like Troll of Khazad-dûm.
Well, I
to
was gonna
trigger
say
Sephiroth.
fucking cycle the fucking Solaire or whatever fucking angel from that fucking precon.
Oh, Radiant Solar.
Yeah, fuck that thing.
Oh, and then you finish the Throne of the Dead 3 or whatever, and then you get to trigger.
This was
Sephiroth
just
and
regular.
reanimate
This was
Radiant
just
Solar.
regular venturing through a dungeon. Like this wasn't even.
Damn, son, a regular venture, and you're tilted. It wasn't even the initiative.
No, before the initiative came out, I was already annoyed as fuck with Sephiroth decks. I just find that the play patterns of some people, because I played with only a certain subset of people that have made like a Sephiroth deck, but I just find the whole fundamental part of like, do tedious small action, do tedious small action. Oh wait, you're gonna interact with me, small tedious action, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, can I just kill your stuff? They're like,
and they are going to do it on every turn because Sephiroth makes you do that.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I've been reaching a point where sometimes I wonder if I should just start putting my foot down on the pedal more on my decks and just have more lethal intent. But I don't know, time will tell. But I was just like, it felt at the moment for that particular game that I'm 100% calling him out and putting him on blast and putting every Sephiroth player on watch. You are my 13th reason why.
Damn.
That if it's on fucking sight, I don't care what the deck's premise is. I will make sure that you're casting 12 plus mana for your commander.
All right, well, you heard it here, Sephiroth players. You all notice. That said, my guy, what do you have to say for your step dodge content in Radioactive? Explain thyself.
I got nothing to explain.
Guilty!
I was gonna make my Arna Kennaru deck, but then Radioactive got previewed, and I said, hold on a minute, we might as well cook with this, and I'm having a good time.
Alright, well, you're fucking guilty. I want the record to reflect that.
I plead the fifth. Can I do that as a Canadian citizen? I don't know.
Fucking beats me, dude.
Okay.
Alright, what do you got for us?
I didn't know exactly where to start with this because the list is fairly short, but I don't have a whole lot to elaborate on my end because I've been busy playing Monster Hunter Wilds. So the only thing I've been doing otherwise, for the most part, is been updating lists, tweaking.
I've been thinking about playing Monster Hunter Wilds, and then every time that I want to play a video game, I'm like, I think I'll play some Commander instead, actually.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't have, I had the Call of the Wilds, very much like Breath of the Wild, and then I said, Monster Hunter Wilds is pretty good, and you know what? It is pretty good. Some people are complaining about like the single player story thing that isn't actually single player, but it is very much being like, hey, take my hand and let's go on an adventure. You're like, cool, these cutscenes are actually kind of sick though. Yeah, I'm having a good time with that. So I've been doing a bunch of tweaking, including I added something to Radioactive, hilariously enough. I updated my Yasova Dragonclaw deck with something because Tarkir Dragonstorm is coming out, and I'm like pretty excited about that. Looking forward to it. What was the thing I put into Radioactive recently? Okay, so let's just skim the list here. I put Satoru the Infiltrator. I put in Winter.
Yeah, that's a good card.
Winter Cursed Rider to give all my artifacts ward pay 2 life.
I have him in a couple of decks and haven't seen him yet, but I feel like he's going to be meaningful.
I think so too. I have him in Eisenhorn and this. I remembered that I had an Abuelo Ancestral Echo from Ixalan, where it's a 3-mana 2/2 with flying and ward 2, pay 1 white and blue, exile another target creature or artifact you control, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So, reset Radioactive again.
You sound like you're doing more Flicker crimes.
Yeah, but I also put in Grazilax Illithid Scholar, so you can't get that mad at me.
I do really like that guy.
Arna Kenneruda is in the deck, but that was already from Inception. So it was mostly just like, how can I leverage some utility stuff for more prolonged games? And so there's that. What did I do for Yasova that was like, quote unquote, noticeable? Put in Pyrewood Gear Hulk and Sita Varma Masked Racer into that deck. Because I just wanted an extra overrun, one-time overrun-esque type thing, to which then I can sacrifice Sita Varma to some effect in Yasova. That felt pretty good. And then speaking of Vetus, wow, I'm Sita Varma. Plaid Clad was like, hey, $10 Sita Varma deck, and I said, sounds interesting. And he's like, I'm gonna make my own. I'm like, I'm gonna make my own. You're not gonna make mine before lunchtime. And so I made a $10 Sita Varma deck very impulsively. It is as listed on TCG Player at the lowest amount, showing at $9.88.
Wow, you really did it.
Nothing necessarily to write home about, although thank you for recommending The Room, Bottomless Pool, and Locker Room.
Yes, I was looking, because you were talking about how Grazilax is like a large portion of the budget
It's like
for this.
$2. It's like, I can't...
Yeah, he's good.
Can't put him in there, so...
Yeah, that is like 2/10 of your whole last budget. 1/5, I can reduce fractions. So I was just like, how expensive is that? Is that room? And the room is like 2 cents compared to that. So we were just like, all right, cool, windmill slam that in there. Because it's Grazilax and it's also an unsummon. So you get to play more interaction.
Yeah, so the fundamentals that I went with, and Nick could probably go on about what he did with his, but I knew one of the things was that flying men had to kind of come into effect here a little bit. Ways to reset Sita when I wanted to redo the overrun effect for whatever that happened to be. We had to put in a Hero's Blade, obviously, because what's better?
Of course.
What's better than a 2-mana 2/3 is a 2-mana 5/5 that also pumps your board up +5/+5. And just as it turns out, like, okay, I don't know what exactly is my like board wipe protection. It gets a little tricky when you're in blue-green and you don't have access to white, but whatever. We got some really weird, funky cards here. I grabbed stuff like, let me just double check here. Elusive Otter.
I was looking at some of these picks. There's like real cards in here, even though you only spent $10 to put the deck together.
Hey, we got
these picks own.
We got Ghostly Pilferer, fantastic. Elusive
Yeah, that's
Otter
the fucking dude.
with the adventure Grove's Bounty. It's X and a green, distribute X counters among any number of creatures you control. And then it is a one blue otter creature with prowess. Creatures with power less than Elusive Otter's power can't block it. Fantastic, cool. Mausoleum Wanderer. When another spirit you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. But you can sacrifice it to counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is this creature's power. So it is your counter spell in a pinch on top of a flying beater. What is like one that's like really I put Graz Unstoppable Juggernaut on the top end,
I think that's such a good finisher for the Flying Men archetype. You just slam that guy and all of your evasive guys are suddenly 5/4s or 5/3, whatever their
they're 5/3s. Yeah. I was like, there's some, like, I'm playing green, I can add some ramp, we can get to 8 mana, and, like, because we're already going to be trying to, like, activate Sita, like, however many times we're going to, so it felt like a pretty appropriate, like, finisher addition there. And then there's, like, stuff that I was like, what the fuck is this, and where did it come from? Like, okay, cool, you got, like, Biden of Thassa or whatever, but, like, Ride the Avalanche. I don't know how
Oh, this spell is so wild.
I don't know how it will work out considering the overall like low curve of the deck, but Ride the Avalanche is a green and a blue for an instant that says the next spell you cast this turn can be cast as though it had flash. When you cast your next spell this turn, put X +1 counters on up to one target creature, where X is the mana value of that spell. But we do have a few X cost spells in the list here, so I don't know. It could be pretty interesting. We're just trying to find numerous ways of putting some counters either amongst the small stuff or putting it on Sita and just turning stuff sideways. So that's what the deck's here to do.
That's good, clean magic right there. And it looks actually viable. You've got your card draw, you've got your interaction, you've got threats. I think you've got everything you need to be a competent threat at the table, and you've only spent $10 to put it together. It's truly impressive.
Yeah. A lot of ways I think you could probably tweak it to still keep that, but also it's just like if you were giving a deck away to kind of give someone like, hey, here's the juice, dude. Like, you want to get in, check this shit out. You just do low curve, turn small dudes sideways, suddenly make them the biggest threat possible, reset your commander, do whatever the hell you want. It's pretty neat. I like it. So what else are you up to? What's going on?
Let's save this large section in the middle here for last and do Arbaz Mir.
Okay, I'm down.
I am so fucking jelly of Lenny's Eye of Alexandria deck and your Artisan Arbaz Mir deck.
Okay.
So here's the fucking deal. I have a bunch of Boros Legends in the collection just chilling. I can put them all in a pot and let it stew and see what the fuck happens. I've tried this on MTGO and it's got potential, but I need to find the balance between the pressure that I'm applying and the aggro that it draws, because almost every spell that I cast is pinging everyone for one, and that's starting to like that tilts people.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to figure out how to like apply that pressure and then convert it into like winning the game before they get their feet under them and are able to take me out. The life gain that Arbaz Mir does like give you from the pings helps, I think, but it also probably contributes to the aggro, because like not only are you pinging them for one, you're gaining life, and then you've got the highest life total and are an attractive target for attacks. So I think I need to increase the like disincentives for attacking me in the forms of like Ghostly Prison or the Spirit that does the same thing.
Well, I was going to say, if we're keeping with the historic thing, you do have Baird Argivian Recruiter, but you could play his 1.0 version that says, you don't attack me unless you pay X. I just can't remember which that one is.
I have never read that card, I don't think.
Oh
Baird's
my
Steward
god.
of Archive. Yeah, I have. That's not true. I've definitely gotten annoyed at not being able to swing where I wanted because of this guy.
So yeah, same thing, same difference. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, and he's legendary and he's from Dominaria, so there's a chance that his card is already in my MTGO collection, but if not, he can't be expensive to pick up.
No, I would imagine he wouldn't be. He's got to be like 0.01 ticks or something, you know?
Yeah, he's probably pretty cheap. So yeah, we're going to look at that. Just make it harder for people to attack me. And also, I'm going to look at some historic damage modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Sulfim Mayhem Dominus would probably be a good inclusion so that we can just start to
Sulfim could fix you.
I think Sulfim will actually make me worse, but we'll have more fun that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is with historic stuff recently? There's just so much cool stuff in that space. We're just busted, I guess. I don't know.
It's probably because they want to continue providing interesting commanders for people to brew around, and that does mean that at some point you can make every creature in your deck historic and have a viable, cohesive, competent deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arbaz Mir, yeah. I do enjoy my Artisan deck. I think I wish maybe I'm not leaning too hard into it enough, because I've done some damage with that deck. Like, some pretty decent damage to people, even within artists, like our artisan only pod that we were doing for a little bit a while ago, and it staved off imminent death against Benwa's actualizer deck.
Yeah, I think it held up pretty good in that.
On top of whatever else had happened. So Benwa called me out because he's like, wait, did you talk about the actualizer? I'm like, no. And he's like, what the fuck, man? And to make it up, not only did I have him come on to do Smoking Mids, but also I get the opportunity to now talk about how I was bringing the Bosmir deck to the actualizer pod that we had with us and Fredo.
Yeah, that shit was so lit. Let's talk about that now. The actualizer. I was playing Sabsun and Ooze Typal because I'm normal.
I was playing my Bosmir, and was this one?
I think Fredo was on the Naya Morph Precon.
Yes, he was playing Koust, which I had never fucking seen before in my life.
People were sleeping on Murders at Karlov Manor, and
especially
they need to
flipping cards.
Read
over.
those cards. Yeah.
But so MagicCon Chicago occurred, and as usual, all these playtest cards come out, and people try to ravenously consume them. Not me though, because that ain't my shtick. But the Benwa was like, hold on a minute, enhance image, what is this? And was immediately smitten with the card known as the Actualizer. 1 black and a red for a 3/3 human wizard. At the beginning of your first main phase, read aloud the name, mana cost, line type, power, and toughness of a card in your hand, except lie about one of them. Each opponent simultaneously guesses which one is incorrect, then reveal the card. Each opponent who guessed incorrectly loses 3 life. You may discard that card and draw a card. The note, the extra rules here being, they can't look it up or ask for help as this ability is resolving. Nice try, though. So the Benwa, the sick man that he is, was like, okay, friends, I have here a pile of cards that may or may not be the same card or similar to another card in the deck. Would you like to play a game? To which we all said, yeah, I guess.
Absolutely.
Needless to say, he gave us some pretty fucking heinously insane out-of-pocket cards where I'm like, I certainly definitely know what that is, and sometimes I'm like, I have no fucking idea what that is, and I'm taking a wild guess in the dark. And then also when he sits there, he's like, I'm gonna name this card. It is an enchantment. This is the name. This is the mana value. And you're just like, what the fuck?
You're just like, question mark, and I'm entering my mind palace because I'm almost certain I know this card and I know what you're lying about. And it works a lot of the time, except when it doesn't work. And like in the case of Stuffy Doll and Creepy Doll, both of which are 5 mana value artifact creatures, except Stuffy Doll is a 0/1 and Creepy Doll is a 1/1, and your man hit me with the vicious ankle breaker. I thought for sure it was Creepy Doll.
So
he was lying about the power. I was like, oh, I know this.
We actually got to see your face because you were like, hold on, I gotta turn the camera on for this because I'm not gonna try to do a fake. Yeah, it was really funny because then you're like, I totally got this. In the back of my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. 5D chess moment. Benwa's lying about the name. It is the Actualizer game show featuring the Benwa and also his guests that are actually his victims, and it is you are fighting for your life just trying to get through 10 nay 13 turns of just not dying on top of playing a commander game.
It's so funny, truly, gamers. Get yourself the actualizer experience, and you will have a good time.
I had a
Long live bracket fucking one.
yeah, I had a thought, and I wanted to Benwa, if you're listening, maybe we should try to do this with the folks downtown. I was thinking of the actualizer game, but it's actually just a game using a pile of magic cards that like you could like print out or whatever you wanted to do, or just brought out of your collection. You just bring a different deck every time, and you have 3 or 4 contestants, or maybe even like, I don't know, like how do you win against the host or whatever? But it's just the host, their pile of cards as the actualizer, and just 3 people or 4 people with like a life total, and take a shot every time the actualizer hits you. And it could probably be a dangerous game, so you probably want to modify some life totals and all this other stuff. But I just thought it would be like a fun little like mind game. It'd be like, okay, we will start the game with the actualizer in play. I can't attack you with anything. In fact, I can't cast any cards because this deck is full of non-lands. You just play the actualizer.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed to work pretty well. It's just like a normal commander game. I don't know how much you need to actually like edit that.
No, because it's a fun Magic trivia night, Quinn.
You can just play Magic trivia, babes.
Yeah, but the actualizer helps gamify it with like a Magic rule. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of the actualizer's appeal to me is that it's a Magic the Gathering game show, but also it can attack and block. And like wear Embercleave or whatever.
Yeah, but like he just literally is like, cool, I'm gonna play this card to pass the turn. I'm like, Benwa, please, I'm fighting for my life. And he's like, I am too. I'm playing the actualizer. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he was casting spells that actually meant things. He had not Waste Not, but the one for you, Bone Miser. And I'm pretty sure there's a Surly Badgersaur in the deck. So yeah, there's an actual game plan in addition to the game show.
Yeah. So yeah, the actualizer coming to a table near you.
Shit's mad cool. Okay. Then I guess it's on to the largest paragraph here for me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. This is where I spend quite a bit of time fangirling about our lion-headed god, Ketramos, the New Dawn. So I'm back at it again on this guy. I was doing a draft on MTGO because I won a giveaway on Bluesky of the like points that you can put into a draft. So we entered that and opened one of the packs, and smiling at me in there with his lion-headed face is a foil Ketramos. So being the commander player that I am, I grabbed that.
As one does.
We also ended up picking up some other cool cards. Curse Cloth Wrappings was one of them. We were extremely pleased to see that. And just some like other cool stuff. We ended up putting together like an Abzan mounts and saddle deck, and didn't see Ketramos but like one time, at which point the opponent was like, cool 80 ticks. And
God, it
like,
really
well,
is
now,
that
yeah.
expensive. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, once we finished that up, we hit the lab and started putting together a Ketramos deck, and we wanted to play something that was not going to be a miserable pile of removal, because that is unplayable.
Oh,
basically.
Bless you. Jesus.
And I already tried the game plan with the Scare and the Hose Reanimator with the like Embalm, Eternalize, Escape, and all that, and just like dedicating my entire game plan to the kinds of Reanimator that require the exiling as a cost. And that game plan was all right, but I wasn't seeing any return on investment until far too late in the game, and I simply needed to be taking game actions before then. We cannot be like doing my thing starting on turn 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So enter Orzhov Blink. I'm a keep it 100 with you gamers. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with the archetype besides in Band with my Amareth the Lustrous deck, and that's more of a clues deck with a blink sub theme. So I kind of just had the like Conjurer's Closets and Ephemerate, and I think that was it for the blink technology. So we decided to go just like fully into that with this deck, and not really a clue of what I was doing, particularly in this color. I don't know what the like essential flicker technology is. So I took my ass on over to EDH Rec to see what was good.
No, Quinn, no, you're not supposed to. No.
No, it was actually fine. It actually helped me shortcut the deck building process quite a bit. So I printed out the average Ketchamus deck under the Blink sub-theme and had that up on one page, and then opened up a brand new deck list right next to that. And I filled it in with the kinds of enter the battlefield cantrip kind of guys that I wanted to be seeing hit the battlefield again and again and again. So I've got like 5 different copies of Helpful Hunter. Yeah, you know the guys, the Spirited Companions, the Wall of Omens, the Inspiring Overseer. Yeah, like those guys that enter the battlefield and draw a card.
Yeah.
I wanted to be playing that guy, draw the card, blink it with Ketramos, or blink it, draw a card with Ketramos, and draw a card again with them entering the battlefield. I'm seeing so much value if I can do that. So yeah, we've got those guys. And I started with playing those because the like average deck list from EDH Rec didn't have any of that shit. And that felt, I don't know, incorrect to me.
You were like,
so
this is
like, right,
offensive to me specifically.
Yeah, you're fucking doing it wrong.
Opens the door.
So, yeah.
What is this? What the fuck? What the hell is this? Like
where are the cantrips?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, some people, am I right?
I'm sure they had other plans, like they see the light of Avacyn or whatever in a different way, but for my vision, yeah, we wanted to be blinking cantrip creatures most frequently. So we got those guys, we copied over the coolest like flicker tech from that deck because I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, we grabbed that and the coolest cards from our Scare in the Hose Reanimator build initially. We grabbed those guys and we put all of that, and we ended up with something that feels pretty good to pilot and actually had potential to put Ketchamus triggers on the stack like the turn he comes down. Whereas like we talked about my previous attempts, I was seeing like my first card from him in the late game, which like can't fucking have that. So flicker technology. We got the fucking Dogphilia. We've got our Flicker Wisp. We've got a Felidar Guardian, notorious combo piece, but I don't think I have anything that combos with that here. We got a Restoration Angel. You know her from being a notorious combo piece with Kiki Jiki, but again, we're in Orzhov, so I don't have that guy here. We got the Sword of Blink and Ramp. We got 2 Conjurer's Closets, the real one and the Teleportation Circle.
Yep.
And then we've got some Flicker Instants and Sorceries. We didn't have Ephemerate because that is actually like a couple bucks on MTG.
Surprise!
Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
That's not surprising at all. Isn't that like a 60 card format playable card?
It is a 60 card format playable card, but it's like an uncommon or something. So like I felt
but you
it
see,
would be readily
Quinn,
available.
did we not just establish the blue uncommon from Aether Drift that's like a $3 actual Magic the Gathering card?
Oh yeah, stock up is kind of expensive these days, eh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, what can you do? So yeah, there's also just like some flicker spells that were already in the library from either the Commander bundle or the default free library that they give you. So you've got like Cloud Shift and Flicker of Fate. And then I ended up picking up Parting Gust from Bloomburrow because that one is either a removal spell or a flicker spell.
Or a flicker spell, yeah.
Modality is pretty important.
Love that card. It's great.
So yeah, we grabbed those guys. I ended up getting another round because this is like an X spell, blink spell, which is fucking bananas to me. You can spend XX2 and a white for a sorcery that says exile any number of creatures you control, then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control. Then repeat this process X more times.
Yup.
So you can spend 0 on the X to do it once, or you can empty the fucking clip on that, I guess, and finish the Undercity.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, to be honest.
Yeah, that seems really good. So yeah, we're gonna try that. As far as the tech from the initial reanimator build, I brought over from the catacombs the sorcery that puts target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control with a finality counter. Well, not a finality counter, it's a corpse counter, but it's the same thing. And then I take the initiative, so we're farming value that way. The spell also has escape, so I can exile cards from my graveyard to cast it, which will trigger Ketramos and give me more value there. The corpse counter is going to exile the thing when it leaves, so I'm getting the trigger from Ketramos there. That feels pretty good. So yeah, we've got the flicker tech and all of that. Those guys. Graveyard hate tech is actually pretty cool and good, especially in the MTGO metagame where people be doing things.
Bunch of stuff they should not be doing.
Yeah, so I've got the Gisa Glorious Resurrector from the most recent jaunt to Innistrad. That's not a remastered set.
Yeah.
Fucking Midnight Hunt. There we go.
One of those Innistrad sets, whichever one they are.
Yeah, and then from the same set, I got Liesa, Forgotten Archangel, and both of these are acting like Leyline of the Void for creatures for me, and either farming some kind of value for me, like putting it onto the battlefield with Decayed, or just straight up putting it on the... Oh, no, just like straight up exiling it with Liesa, like it's gone forever with her.
Yeah.
I also have like more pinpoint graveyard hate with Emperor of Bones, who I wanted to play from Modern Horizons 3. This guy looks fucking weird. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you exile up to one target creature card from one target card from a graveyard. You can spend 1 and a black for Adapt 2, and whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Emperor of Bones, put a creature card exiled with Emperor of Bones onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. This guy seems particularly good because, again, the finality counter and the exile on the end step is like pretty exploitable. I can have that around and use the Conjurer's Closet to blink it on end step, and the game is like, it's going to exile, boss, I did my job, but the Conjurer's Closet's like the exile with the asterisk, so it gets to come back.
Love that. I love that effect, because that was, that's your Whip of Erebos / Ghost Council of...
Yeah, it's exactly that interaction.
Yeah, love that. I love loophole abuses of exile clauses.
It's so good. I should actually probably put Whip of Erebos in this deck because I do like to get in there for combat with my techy little creatures. And the Whip of Erebos will give me the lifelink, and it'll give me the reanimate with an exile that I can either flicker to abuse or just let it go and still trigger
Ketramos, yeah. As it turns out, Whip of Erebos, shocking no one, is a good Magic the Gathering card even in 2025.
Yeah, that shit still slaps. They put it in a precon in Duskmourn.
That's actually kind of correct. That's wild.
I killed somebody with commander damage via Lion Sash. It was extremely do or die hours. We were down to the 1v1, and I was pretty on, like, I needed exactsies here or we were dead because their life total was ballooned out of anywhere that I could handle. They had 1 blocker, so Ketramos with Menace is absolutely getting in there. So I do some fucking calculations. I enter my Mind Palace, and then I look at the mana that I have available. I reconfigure that Lion Sash on Ketramos. I start munching away at graveyards. I get up to a point where I can deal 21 commander damage total to him, and then I finish the fucking job.
Damn, that... See, as it turns out, when you give a new god a bunch of keywords and a surprisingly easy clause of getting the bunch of stuff exiled so he can turn his way sideways, turns out it's kind of fucked up.
It is pretty fucking good. Some bespoke technology. We already talked about that. The fucking embalm escape knowledge. There's curse cloth wrappings, which exiles the thing and then makes a token of the thing. Because of Embalm. The Grim Captain's Locker gives guys escape. Both of those are good for buying things back after board wipes and start building your board state back up where everybody else is maybe low on card advantage. The Neon Dynasty sagas, in particularly the Restoration of Eiganjo, on the last chapter will exile themselves and return to the battlefield transformed. So that's just like a free Ketramos trigger for a thing that the spell was going to do anyway, and we will absolutely take that because Restoration of Eiganjo owns.
I have to really look at some of these sagas because I'm like, what one is this?
It's the white one. It enters the battlefield and you find a plains and put that into your hand. And then on chapter 2, you can discard a card, and if you do, you can return something mana value, I think 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You can return a land. Neato.
Yeah, so if you've got your land drop already sorted, you can discard an extra land and then get your ramp on that way. I've also brought back like mana rocks or cantrip creatures like for the helpful cat or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all of that tech. I really wanted to take advantage of the amount of cards that I was drawing with Ketramos. I think the best card for this is obviously going to be Shieldred the Apocalypse, but she costs $50 bajillion, and we don't have one of those on MTG.
Both your commander and that card cost $1 bajillion fucking dollars.
Okay, but I didn't spend money on my commander. I got my commander from a Bluesky giveaway.
Here's my $60 budget Ketramos deck asterisk. Not counting the commander, second asterisk, $50 is committed from this one Phyrexian lady alone.
I would never try and pose this as a budget deck, please.
No, this is
you have way too much money on the.
I'm sorry, and to anyone
to
anyone who does that kind of content, no shade. I just do love when people complain about the people in comments are like, this isn't a $20 budget deck. The commander costs like $100. You're like, yeah, well, look, if you happen to get the deck, here's your $20 budget. But yes, it is like $120. Take it or leave it. Look, what do you want from me?
Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to get my hands on a Shelly the Apocalypse for MTGO unless somebody wants to, like, send me one or something like that. I don't fucking know. So a good substitute, shout out to Gixian Puppeteer. This guy gains us life when we draw our second card, and I think it also burns my opponents for 2. I can actually, like, look at the card, Lamau.
It does.
Gixian
It does burn
Puppeteer.
people. Yeah.
For 3 and a black, Phyrexian Warlock, 4/3. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And when it dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So many of my techie creatures with the cantrip abilities are coming at mana value 3 or less. So I can bring a lot of those guys back with this ability. And they are the kind of guys that I do want to be recouping that value from. So I'm extremely interested in seeing that. Another one of these fucking guys, speaking of, Zoraline Cosmos Scholar.
Whoa, what? What's this doing
she's
here?
got a place in here too. It turns out she's cooler than the 99. A lot of my creatures and my non-land permanents are compatible with her reanimation trigger, like we talked about.
That's crazy.
And the finality counter works with Ketramos, and we can shoot that with blinking. There's all of that fucking works together. We'd love to see it.
Very nice. Awesome.
And my last section here, big indulgent hate cards.
Can't be an Empress Quinn deck without that.
Yeah, I'm allowed a couple of them. So I chose for this deck, Shieldred the Apocalypse, or not the Apocalypse, goodness. Shieldred and the True Scriptures.
The flip one,
version.
Okay.
Yeah, from March of the Machines. She enters the battlefield and has each opponent sacrifice a non-token creature or planeswalker. Just a fucking ruinous edict. This one usually is pretty impactful. She's also 4/5 with Menace, and you can spend 4 in a black to exile her and then return her to the battlefield transformed, which triggers Ketramos.
Very nice, good. Do love that circumstantial synergy.
And then the backside is like a removal spell that does destroy up to, for each opponent, destroy up to 1 creature or planeswalker they control. Has them all discard 3 cards, then mill 3 cards on Chapter 2. And then Chapter 3 is basically Rise of the Dark Realms.
Stop, they're already dead, Quinn.
Yeah, so it just fucking finishes the game if I can get there. Or I can be an absolutely rude bitch and blink shoulder it a lot and ensure that they don't have creatures.
Yeah, that is also a very valid strategy. That's
Yeah.
also scary as fuck.
It doesn't usually come up that I can do that kind of thing. I do have at the top of the curve. First, my other indulgent hate piece is Camball, Console of Allocation. There's mages on the internet casting far too many spells in one turn. And this guy, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and I gain 2 life. We're just gonna fucking make them think about every spell that they cast or answer this guy before they storm off, and either way I only spent 3 mana on him. That's the same amount of mana that you spend on Spellsky, right?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Alright, so curve toppers, I got your girl Ashen Rider, and I got Athrea's Shroud Veiled. So this guy's gonna act like a control win condition for me, basically. I get to choose something and it's going to stay with me, because Athrea's probably isn't getting removed, and then his coin counter ensures that the thing that you try and remove doesn't ever really get removed. And that thing can be Ashen Rider, who's a large flyer and enters the battlefield and exiles target permanent. Fucking ruinous.
So you're definitely got this a little bit more rounded out than before. And that's pretty scary. That's pretty spooky.
Yeah, I think this deck actually works a lot better. It's got the potential to close games. I did play 3 whole ass game changers. There's a Vamp Tutor, a Bolus's Citadel, and a Smothering Tithe, since I wanted this to sit pretty firmly in bracket 3. So we're doing a slightly bit of rude things, and we're playing those 3 game changers to for sure sit us there.
Very nice. And a lot of cards that I always keep thinking about and never could find the right place, but maybe I will in the future. Guess I'll have to sit down and figure that out. Gixian Puppeteer, that's the one I'm thinking of, like, always.
Yeah, I think that guy's pretty good. If you can consistently put that second card draw trigger on the stack, I think that's well worth considering.
I've been also, this is going to be leading into the deck I'm going to be talking about, but I keep always having these, like, circumstantial black cards and red cards that go do discarding stuff, and then I was thinking about Captain Howler, and I'm like, fuck, I need to make that Grixis discard deck or whatever, and it's just it's a whole thing. There's a lot to think about, and not enough.
They keep putting these things that they want to hold hands, and you need 3 colors to make everyone hold hands, but I think you can do it.
I don't want to do it because I just made another Mardu deck, Quinn.
Oh shit, alright, tell them.
Okay. I was gonna say I was making it, but then I made it in the time that I typed that down. So let's talk about my Francisco and Bruce Tarl deck that is the result of me taking apart my Craig Boone Novat Guard deck and my Francisco Foul Marauder and Dargo the Shipwrecker deck. Now, you know, I love Dargo and everything, but I did need a change, and I wasn't sure what was the best way to go about it, but this felt like a neat little compromise here. So a while back, I wanted to put a deck together that was a partner deck that cared about backgrounds, and that's ideas kind of come and gone through a bunch of different colors, so it's actually kind of weirdly in parallel with like a Super Friends deck that I had a while ago. And somehow 4 colors was the end result, so I guess this was kind of the next step. So I wanted to focus on stuff like Agent of the Shadow Thieves, Agent of the Iron Throne, Flaming Fist, Rising of the Day, that all stuff that cares about legendary creatures and commanders. So it's like, cool, what's the color combination going to be? Well, I do love Mardu, so what am I going to do about that? And then I'm like, well, we have Dargo and Timna the Weaver. Which I was like, no, I don't know about that one. And then we had
that's
the
fair.
Clue people who were Friends Forever.
Yeah, probably Cecily or not Cecily, Sophina and Warnog.
And Warnog, yeah. And I was like, that's pretty good, but like, I don't know if that's the best answer. Like, I don't know if that's the best result or not, but maybe I could make a deck that could have both of them in it, and then I could have partner commanders in the deck that allows me to like just kind of pick and choose whichever ones I want. But what I did end up doing was choosing Francisco and Bruce Tarl for a couple different reasons. One of them being that Francisco
Weird.
will be a way for me to put lands into my hands to keep hitting my land drops.
That's very important. That's how you win games.
And Bruce Tarl is the I punch people in the face really hard and win the game via commander damage.
Hell yeah.
And at some point, Francisco can be a certified threat in the air. So I'm like, cool. How do I go about doing this with the backgrounds and stuff in mind? And if anything, when you have 21 enchantments in the deck, you would think it should be another Enchantress deck. And questions still out about how or if I'm going to be doing that. But
yeah.
I, like put in random Archaeomancer or whatever. But the other part was like, cool, let's just make it a lightweight Legends Matters deck. And
yeah, because all your backgrounds are legendary.
Yeah. And the other part of that was Colonel Autumn, which has always been on my radar for the last little bit, because I'm like, exploiting creatures to put +1 counters on all your other creatures is a pretty good strategy. I'm not gonna lie, but how do I balance that out? And essentially what the end result was, I just cram everything together. We'll do a trial by fire at some point pretty soon to figure out how it all works out. But when you back up Francisco with a bunch of ways to put +1 counters on himself or other creatures, then you back it up with like Grateful Apparition, Metastatic Evangel, get a Nanny Pakal, Thousandth Moon in there, get a Lae'zel Blacketh's Champion,
Yo.
put in Arvad the Cursed from fucking Dominaria and be like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's fucking let's get this dude out here, The end result is like, all right, let's put all these creatures together, including a bunch of these legendary creatures that are just circumstantially synergized. Do I have a Shanid somewhere? I probably do. I'll have to go find that. But getting some backgrounds and some reanimator spells. Probably will need to work on my draw spells, whatever, and then just jam it. We'll see what happens and what the end result is, and come back and look at the V2. But
yeah, and get you connecting the dots for sure.
Yeah, put connecting the dots in here. I got that copy somewhere on my pile of cards on this table right now. I'll have to find it. But so far, not bad. I just like the idea of what this deck is going to do. As to what the result will be, I'll have to find out. My only hope is that I get to hit my land drops. I'll have some interaction here and there. My creatures will be certified threats. I'll be able to win the game off the backs of my commanders, worst case scenario, because they're going to have the likes of having a jumbled mess of every character background that you can conceivably think of in D&D. They'll be simultaneously guild artisans, while also being veteran soldiers, agents of the Iron Throne, and having a criminal past to ensure that not only am I beating you down in the face with, like, stupid evasion, I'm going to be making treasures, making soldiers, and if they circumstantially die, dinging you in the face for potentially a bunch of damage.
I think all of that is actually a solid basis for an aggro game plan, and you've got this.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see what ends up happening, but it felt like finally putting all the disconnected pieces together into one single deck has been great. Finding a home for like flowering of the white tree and the Kenrith's Royal Funeral finally.
Oh, yes, pointing at the screen, Kenrith's Royal Funeral. It bangs.
I have a random copy of Conspiracy that I grabbed from the Assassin's Creed set, because
yeah, okay.
I'm like, cool, so Francisco cares about pirates, so I think I'll just say name pirate and play Bruce Tarl and all that other stuff and have everyone deal damage to everyone and see how that works out,
Yeah, solid game plan.
Finally, I would like to point this out because this is something that I was slowly gathering, like, the Infinity Stones in the background without really doing anything. So I have a cycle of lands with depletion counters on them. I originally had, where is it? I had Peat Bog for years. Each of these lands read, X land comes into play tapped with 2 depletion counters on it, and I have Peat Bog, Remote Farm, and Sandstone Oracle. 2 of those lands are coming from the Craig Boone deck because it also cared about proliferating counters on stuff. And then, of course, you can remove a depletion counter by tapping it to add 2 of that particular color of mana to your mana pool. 2 red, 2 black, or 2 white. And then if there are no depletion counters on those lands, sacrifice them. So, hey, playing tap lands, there's that.
Yeah.
But also being able to regenerate the resources on them so they're always adding 2 of a particular mana off of them. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good trade-off here. What's the end result going to be? We'll find out when I get to play this deck.
The end result is going to be advancing the game state meaningfully via the reduction of life totals. And that's all that matters.
True. We do obviously have to have our obligatory Hero's Blade because we have 2 legendary commanders and then Embercleave.
Oh, hell yeah, of course.
Because if there was anything that I learned from my Dargo the Shipwrecker and Francisco days, is that you can have a Dargo the Shipwrecker and an Embercleave out on turn 4 at the same time. But I think just even having an Embercleave with on a pirate bird is just as good.
I'm inclined to agree, especially because the double strike will explore in between hits.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited because I have been wanting to do another Mardu deck, and here I am now officially with 3 Mardu decks.
You did it.
I did it. I am stretched so thin.
Well,
but yeah.
Tell me about McEDH.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I guess that is kind of the last thing here, huh?
Yeah.
Before I go into that, just want to double check with you because I didn't see it on the docket. Do you got a sandbox? Soapbox. God damn it.
You're doing great, sweetie.
But I'm going to assume that's a no, maybe?
No, I don't have one, but I am thinking about spell theft and perhaps we spell theft soapbox.
Well, I guess we'll have to see here. Okay. So I hinted about it last episode, I believe. But in the play group that I'm playing with every couple weeks or so, we were playing a 6-player variant called McEDH, and it was based off of the original premise of the Gunslinger, where it's racist old Western premise where you have the sheriff, his deputy, the 2 outlaws, the gunslinger, the wandering gunslinger, the quote-unquote brave, which is totally, definitely just a native dude trying to live his life, and some additional roles that were kind of in the background if you scaled up past 6 players. Well, guess what? I was playing a 7-player game. And I know what you're...
7 is so many. I am cringing. I am recoiling in fear. So explain thyself.
So, now, like a bunch of these other EDH variants that focus on trying to narrow the scope, for example, I believe it's called Star, where, like, the people who are adjacent to you are your allies, and the people who are across from you in this 5-player game or whatever are your enemies. And your only goal, of course, some of which of these win conditions are shared with your allies or your whatever, is like your only goal is to kill X person or 2 people, and that's it. If you achieve that condition, you win the game. But there are times where sometimes more than 1 player can come out on top. So it kind of adds this extra dynamic without going into like 2-headed giant or anything like that. Now, like Hidden Roles or Kingdom, not Kingdom, or whatever it's called, where there's
it's at kingdoms.
yeah, it's hidden roles that are assigned out to people, and you have to try to sleuth and figure people out on top of playing a game of Commander, which sometimes you can be allies with the king or the sheriff, or in this case, I'll get into the McEDH part in a second here. But obviously the goal is to try to suss people out, and then if you wrong, or the sheriff or whoever figures out who you are, or doesn't figure out who you are and kills you, they're suddenly backed into a corner. Or like one of the bandits is going kamikaze on you, while the other one waits for the right time. Now, obviously, the terrible premise aside of an old Western, my friends were like, well, let's try to make this a little less problematic. And Joel and Thrallman took it upon himself after a night where some of the people that were playing, like, I left one night and then they had a high talk, like they were like having some weed or whatever, and they're just like, what if we called it McEDH? And you're like, fucking what?
Yeah, classic brainstorming session.
And what they realized as they were looking back at the 80s era of McDonald's was that there are all these characters that we don't see or hear about much anymore. And that these characters could act as stand-ins to the characters of Gunslinger. So I'm going to go over the roles. Primary one at the top is Mayor McCheese. This dude looks fucking horrendous. You start.
That's Mayor McCheese. Show some respect.
You as the mayor declare that you are the mayor. You turn the card face up. Your life goes to 60. You go first. Your win condition are when both the Fry guys are dead. The Fry guys are the villains, of course. Their only condition is when Mayor McCheese is dead. There are two of you. You are hidden. You have to try to work together without really knowing who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You have some other characters like Officer Big Mac, who is the quote-unquote deputy in this case. Officer Big Mac wins when both Fry guys are dead. Also an easy condition. Your goals line up with Mayor McCheese.
Mm-hmm.
The Hamburglar wins when Officer Big Mac, Grimace, and a single Fry guy are dead, which is a very interesting win condition. But what else does the Hamburglar do? When you die, reveal this card and set your life total to 20. Shuffle your graveyard hand and all non-land permanents into your deck, then draw 7 cards. Return your commander to the command zone and set the commander tax to 0. You gain protection from everything, and your life total cannot change until your next upkeep.
Holy shit.
So,
the Hamburglar gets another life?
Yeah.
The Hamburglar's a lich?
Yeah, but there's a trade-off, because for the lich, there has to be the Grimace. So if the Grimace dies, you reveal the card. The player who controlled the effect that killed you also dies.
Oh, fuck.
And his win conditions are, he has to kill Officer Big Mac, the Hamburglar, you know, the one that can come back to life, and a single Fry guy. So
if Grimace kills the Hamburglar stays dead.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. So, then of course, this is where the scaling up occurs of you can add the quote-unquote, oh wait, did I miss the Fry guy? No, the Fry guys are the villains, duh. All right. So now you go into the additional player angle. If you enter the 7th player, you get the choice of the Professor, who also looks like a horrid person. Good thing that McDonald's like phased these people out. And then you have Ronald McDonald. If you're Ronald McDonald, you're just a regular guy. You start the game with Ronald McDonald face up. You set your life to 30. And you only win the game when you survive to the end of the game.
Oh, fuck.
So it doesn't matter how it goes about. You could win with the Fry guys. You could win with Mayor McCheese. Doesn't matter, but if you live to the end of the game, you win as Ronald McDonald. Or you can be the most batshit person ever and play the Professor. You start the game with the Professor face up, and then you secretly predict which character will win and which turn it will happen. And then if another player wins the game, you reveal your prediction. If your prediction is correct, you win the game and all other players lose the game. So
Okay.
you could
And
take
you have to like enter your mind palace and do the prediction of who's going to win this game and when it's going to happen. And if you get that right, when they win, you win.
so but then so this is where obviously, like, again, I want to establish we played a 7-player game. I was Grimace.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, right? The mind games from the 6-player thing is, regardless of who you are, as long as you're not Mayor McCheese, is you have a hidden role and you have a win condition that isn't just blowing everyone out of the water, you know? But the trade-off also comes in, is the mayor knows that if he makes any big moves against a single person, he better know that it's not the gunslinger, or if it is the gunslinger, it's the first time he kills them, so he can reveal himself face up and be like, that is definitely the Hamburglar. He's back, I can take him out again, and that allows people to narrow the scope of what they need to do. But he also, the Mayor McCheese can't just take out the Grimace Shake so casually, because if they do, they just die and lose the game, and then the Fry Guys win. So there's an extra element of mind games. Yes, the turns take forever. It's like an extended turn of D&D when you have like 6 players in a row. But it allows you to engage in the game on a different cerebral angle as you're trying to figure out who the fuck is who and how to ingratiate yourself to Mayor McCheese so that way you don't die. And it was fun when everyone's like, I'm gonna kill Cole, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, I attack you for lethal. I'm like, correct. I flip and reveal the Grimace Shake that you had on that TikTok video, and they just start vomiting out purple ice cream. Like,
not so fast.
So it's goofy shit. I totally love it. And as much as it could probably be a drag, at the time when we were playing that 7-player game, it was fun. Just going around the table, everyone trying to make their case about why they are who they are, and I'm like just sitting there, hands together, like I'm Gendo Ikari, being like, yeah, who's who? And Joel's across the table. He's like, Cole's fucking Grimace. I'm like, what? How the fuck do you know that? And he's like, I just have this feeling. I'm like, oh, bullshit, dude. Sure enough, someone texts me and it's like, and I can't remember. Yeah, it was a crazy game. And I don't know. I think at that point I was like, cool, I think I'm going to scoop up and head on out of here because it's the last game of the night. But yeah. It's a nice change of pace when we have like 7 people show up and there's people who don't want to have like their 3-player game that fucks everything up. Hilariously, I was playing Radu and Hagadu in that game. So the mutual kill was kind of like, yeah.
Get him with the hidden blades.
Yeah, just like, all right, well, it's that scene in Assassin's Creed 3 where he and Hatham like stab each other. And you're like, I'm killing my dad. Yeah, well, I'm going to kill you. You won't be far behind me. Well, guess what? I'm a tough motherfucker. But yeah, good time. Don't do that all the time. You know, have maybe a couple drinks when you do this shit.
It's definitely got to be the kind of thing that you make an event of. But if you have gotten the circumstances for it right, that sounds like a very cool experience.
Yeah. So look into your EDH alternatives if you are looking to try to spice things up. Or you can play like 1v1 formats. That's also a pretty valid thing.
Yeah, roll up some 60 card and let that rip.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Well, gamers, I think it's about time to head on out of here.
Damn, another short episode. That's crazy.
It's fine.
We are...
Cole, tell the people where they can find us online.
Oh, dang it. It is my turn, isn't it? All right. Fuck Twitter. We're over on Bluesky, so you can get me at The Bloodrick Guy and Quinn at Girl Dick Energy. You can find us both at HBVC-MTG. You can also find us over on MTG Lexicon, the dive bar of EDH, every Saturday. I haven't been there recently, but we got Lenny over there. We got Joe. We got Brandon. We looks like we're trying to do some Wednesday games coming up. We're gonna see how that works out. We are also, hey, by the way, remember, check out our dedicated Heroes Blade Vibe Check channel on the MTG Lexicon Discord. We also got, hey, hear me out, hashtag, fuck. What's the line, Quinn?
I don't know.
DrownSecrets.fm.
Okay, there you go.
You know, the show that I want you to keep doing, but it just hasn't happened yet, because I'm like, come on, Quinn, I believe in you.
It's because I have to compose a whole last beat for the backing track, my guy.
Oh, shit, okay, I can understand that now. But yeah, come check us out, chat with us, or just hit us up on socials. We're hanging out. And
Right.
yeah, that's it. Thanks, Benwa, for doing the bit. For smoking mids. Everyone, just let us know what you're thinking, and we're gonna be doing it for the next little bit. Scope it out, see what you think, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, later, gamers.